The stars in Sector 12B were silent. No ships moved there, no stations blinked. It was called the Empty Sky, and for 100 years it stayed that way. Many said it was cursed. Some believed something terrible happened long ago. Others just laughed and called it a dead zone. No one lived there. No one watched it. No one cared. Until one day, something changed. Captain Velrek of the Tarsari Exploration Guild leaned back in his command seat. His ship, the Silver Gaze, floated near the edge of Sector 12B. He wasn't supposed to be here. The Guild had marked this zone off limits, but Velrek liked breaking rules. "Still nothing on the scans?" he asked. His crewmate, a younger Tarsari named Jiln, looked at the console. "Nothing, just like the last 3 days." Velrek grinned. "Then we're alone in the quietest part of the galaxy. Perfect." They floated in silence, the stars calm and distant. But then the lights on the console flickered. A low hum filled the ship. Every screen glitched for a moment. Jiln frowned. "That's not normal." Velrek stood up. "What was that?" Before she could answer, the ship's radar pinged. Jiln gasped. "We've got movement!" A dot appeared on the screen. Just one. It moved slowly, rising from deep, within the sector like a shadow waking from a long sleep. The readings were strange. No warp trail, no power signature, no ID code. Velrek narrowed his eyes. "What kind of ship is that?" The dot got closer. The scanners finally locked onto it. It was old, very old, made from metals not used in over 100 years, covered in scars and burns. Its surface looked like it had traveled through fire, ice, and worse. "It's human," Jiln whispered. Velrek turned sharply. "That's impossible. Humans haven't been seen in this part of the galaxy for over 2 centuries. The humans had vanished long ago. Some said they destroyed themselves. Others believed they had fled beyond the edge of known space. Many just forgot about them. But now, one of their ships was here, in the middle of the most feared, empty part of the galaxy. "It's heading straight toward us," Jiln said, her voice shaking. Velrek stared at the screen. The human vessel had no name, no signal, no sign of life. But it moved with purpose, like it knew exactly where it was going. "Back us off," Velrek ordered. "Give it space." But the ship didn't stop, it didn't slow, and it didn't answer their hails. "It's not scanning us," Jiln said. "It's not even looking at us." Velrek watched closely. The human vessel passed right by them, silent, cold, but terrifying. As it moved, their ship's systems dropped. Lights dimmed. Engines failed for 5 full seconds. Then everything came back online. "What the?" Jiln started. Velrek held up a hand. "Don't speak. Just watch." The human ship disappeared into the black, heading deeper into Sector 12B. Then, as suddenly as it came, it was gone. Velrek opened a private channel and recorded a log. "Unregistered human ship sighted in Sector 12B, old design. Moving without power trails, caused a temporary system blackout, ignored contact attempts, heading into dead space. This changes everything." He sent the log to command. Back at the nearest starbase, the message arrived and caused chaos. A dozen leaders met. Some called it a hoax, others demanded silence. But one old admiral, gray and quiet, stood up slowly and said something that made the room go cold. "That ship," he said, "matches the last known design of Project Thunderclap." Everyone turned to him. "What was Project Thunderclap?" someone asked. The admiral's eyes were distant. "A last resort, a secret human fleet, sent into the void when the galaxy turned on Earth. We thought they were destroyed. But if even one ship survived..." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. The human ship was moving again. More alien ships came to watch it from afar, but none dared to get close. One vessel from the Zarn Empire tried to scan it directly. 5 seconds later, it exploded. No warning, No reason. No weapon was seen. That night the sector was no longer called empty. The silence was broken, and across the stars a question began to grow. Why had a human vessel returned? What else might be coming? And what exactly had humanity become in all those lost years? No one knew, but they all felt it. Thunder was rolling in the dark. The stars watched in silence as the human vessel drifted deeper into Sector 12B. It made no sound. It gave no light. But every ship near the zone felt it, like a pressure in the air, a storm about to break. Velrek's ship stayed far behind, watching carefully. He didn't dare get close. He had already seen what happened to the Zarn vessel. One moment it was there, then nothing but dust. No attack, no warning. Just erased. Still no signals? Velrek asked. Jiln shook her head. Nothing. No code. No voice. No scan. Velrek looked out the main screen. The human ship floated through the stars like it didn't care who watched. It was not hiding. It wasn't afraid. And yet no one understood how it was even moving. There are no engines, Jiln said. I mean, there are engine blocks, but they're cold. No power flow, no fuel line, nothing. Velrek leaned closer. Then how is it traveling? Jiln's fingers flew over the console. I don't know. It's just moving, like it's gliding through space on its own. They watched in silence for hours. The human ship made no changes in course. No sign of life, no machines working outside. But still it moved straight, like it had a destination. Then something strange happened. A ripple spread around the vessel, like waves in water but made of energy. Ships nearby felt it. Electronics blinked, data streams froze. Some smaller scout drones dropped from the sky completely, never turning back on. Velrek stood up. It's sending out a pulse. Is it scanning? Jiln asked. No, Velrek said. It's warning. Across the galaxy, other ships tried to connect. The Darlon Watchtower sent an elite drone fleet. They moved in fast, confident in their advanced shields. As they got close, one of the drones fired a probe beam. The human vessel didn't even turn. The drone vanished. One by one, every drone that came within 500 kilometers of the human ship vanished the same way. No fire, no weapons, no debris. Just gone. The Alien Council met again. Panic grew. A message was sent to over 30 civilizations. Unidentified human ship is highly dangerous. All contact is forbidden. Stay clear of Sector 12B. But not all listened. A research vessel from the Glyron. Union ignored the warning. Their leader, High Thinker Varel, wanted answers. She believed the ship was not dangerous, just old and broken. She brought her science crew close and ordered a full analysis. What they found shook them. Inside the human ship, through high-powered scans, they saw chambers full of strange tech. Some looked like weapons, some looked alive. And in the heart of the ship, there was something glowing, slowly pulsing like a heartbeat. It's not a ship, Varel said. It's a being. Before, they could scan more. The human vessel turned slightly, just a few degrees. Varel froze. Did it just move? Because of us? Suddenly, their ship's systems failed. The crew screamed. Lights flickered. Then a voice, clear and cold, echoed inside their minds. This path is not for you. The Glyron ship was thrown back by a force they couldn't measure. It spun helplessly into open space. Life support returned only minutes before they would have died. Velrek heard the report. He played the message again and again. Did it speak to them? Jiln asked. No, Velrek said. It spoke through them. As more alien leaders learned what happened, fear began to spread. Rumors flew. Some said the humans had created living ships. Others claimed this was a ghost ship, haunted by the dead of a forgotten war. But the truth was worse. Admiral Talek, one of the oldest surviving war veterans, studied the ship's design. His eyes went wide when he saw the markings. They weren't just human symbols. They were war codes, secret ones, used only during Earth's final defense over 2 centuries ago. He stood in silence, then spoke just one word: Thunderclap. That word echoed through military channels. Project Thunderclap was the name of Earth's last stand, a fleet of ships lost in deep space during humanity's darkest hour. Some believed they were destroyed. Others said they escaped. Now, one had returned. Velrek recorded a new log. "We are not looking at a machine. We are looking at something more, something that returned not by mistake, but by choice. It has power beyond anything in known records. And I believe this is not the end, but the beginning." He paused, then added, "I will follow it, from a distance. If more arrive, the galaxy will not be ready." That night, the stars around Sector 12B grew dimmer. The human vessel reached the center of the dead zone. It stopped there, floating in place, silent, waiting. Across the galaxy, thousands watched. No one spoke. Then, without warning, the ship lit up for the first time. A deep blue glow spread along its surface, lines forming shapes, patterns, and one single symbol, a human hand. Reaching outward, and below it in Old Terran code were 3 words: "We remember everything." The galaxy held its breath. Thunder was still coming. Velrek hadn't moved his ship for 2 days. The human vessel stayed still at the center of Sector 12B. It floated like a monument, glowing faintly with blue light. Every hour, more ships arrived at the edge of the zone. They watched. No one got close. No one dared. But now, something was changing. The glow across the human ship's hull pulsed faster. The symbols grew brighter, and then new signals started to appear. Not words, not language, just tones, low, deep, and ancient, like a voice from a forgotten past. Velrek leaned forward. "Are those messages?" Jiln stared at the screen. "They're not meant for us." Indeed, the signals weren't directed toward any alien system. They were being sent into deep space, beyond charted sectors. A pattern formed, repeating every 6 minutes, then every 4, then 2. Something, or someone, was listening. On a barren moon near the Varn cluster, an ancient Terran satellite blinked to life. Long dead, now awake. It received the signal. It responded with a single ping. Back in Sector 12B, the human ship reacted. The blue lights faded. The ship turned slightly, then pointed upward toward a nearby void, a dark space between stars that hid nothing, or so everyone thought, until it tore open. Space itself twisted. A crack appeared, not a wormhole. Not a gate, something older, something buried. Out of it came another ship. It was even larger than the first. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal. Old battle scars covered its sides. The moment it appeared, dozens of alien ships panicked and retreated. Velrek stood in silence. "Is that another human vessel?" Jiln asked. He nodded slowly. Thunderclap was never one ship. More rips in space followed. 1, 2, 5, 10. Human ships poured through, each one different, but all carrying the same mark. The open hand symbol, glowing on the hull, silent. Watchful. "They're forming a wall," Jiln whispered. She was right. The ships spread out across Sector 12B, building a formation. No words, no orders, just perfect military alignment. Then came the biggest shock. A message played across all known channels, every language, every system, every screen, to I, all who remain. Earth has returned. Stand aside or be judged. Panic swept through the galaxy. Emergency meetings were called. Some leaders ordered full retreat from the region. Others demanded attacks. But no one acted. They were too afraid. The humans had been gone for over 200 years. Everyone thought they were finished, destroyed, forgotten, but now they were here, and they had not forgotten anything. On the Zarn Prime Council, Lord Eriv slammed his fist into the table. We crushed Earth centuries ago. They begged for peace. We gave them exile. What right do they have to return with warships? An old strategist replied coldly, "What if exile wasn't a punishment? What if it was a warning?" Back in Sector 12B, something even stranger happened. The first human vessel, the one called Thunderclap, opened its main bay doors. From inside, hundreds of smaller ships flew out. Not fighters, not drones, shuttles, and they began building. Velrek watched in disbelief. "They're making something." "Looks like a space dock," Jiln said. "Big one. Military design." "But why here?" Velrek asked. Then it clicked. "They're not invading," he said. "They're rebuilding." For 2 centuries, the galaxy ignored the dead zone. No one lived there. No one owned it. The humans had come back to a place no one wanted, and now they were claiming it. Velrek sent a final message to the Guild. The humans are not lost. They are not broken. They have returned with purpose. And we are not ready. He looked out the window at the growing fleet. Not even close. On the 5th day, the humans sent a second message. This space is no longer abandoned. Earth's reach begins here. We will not be questioned. That was the moment fear turned into something worse. Uncertainty. What would the humans do next? Would they stay in Sector 12B or move outward? Many asked the same question. What had humanity become in exile? One brave news drone approached the edge of the new human border. It zoomed in on the original ship, scanning for a better look. For 1 second, the camera caught something behind the glass. A face. Human, eyes glowing faintly blue. And then the feed cut out. No one knew what kind of humans were inside those ships. Were they still the same? Or had time, war, and silence changed them into something new? As the galaxy waited, the stars around Sector 12B continued to dim. The humans didn't fire. They didn't speak. They simply kept building. And the sound of thunder echoed louder across the void. The galaxy held its breath. The humans weren't attacking. They weren't speaking, but they were preparing. In Sector 12B, the human fleet had grown. Dozens of ships had arrived through the strange cracks. In space, they worked together like one mind. No wasted motion, no delay. It was like they had trained for this moment for centuries, and maybe they had. Velrek's ship hovered at the edge of the zone. He had been watching since the first vessel arrived. Now, the humans had begun building something far larger, a station the size of a city. It floated above the central moon like a crown. "They call it a bastion," Jiln said, reading intercepted code. Velrek nodded. "A fortress." Jiln zoomed in on the structure. It had towers, turrets, hangar bays, and strange panels that shimmered like liquid. It wasn't just a military base. It looked alive. Messages flew across alien networks. Some called for peace, talks. Others begged for answers. The humans didn't respond. On Zarn Prime, Lord Eriv shouted again, "They are ignoring us. We must show force." But his generals looked uneasy. No one wanted to repeat history. Not after the Zarn drone fleet was erased by a single human ship without firing a shot. The truth spread quickly. Humanity's new tech didn't match anything in known science. Their ships moved without fuel. Their weapons were unseen. Their minds, maybe, were not fully human anymore. A single question circled every council. What happened to Earth after exile? Back in Sector 12B, something new happened. The human station, Bastion 1, opened a giant door. A long, sleek craft floated out. Smaller than the capital ships, but powerful in shape. This was not for building. This was a weapon. Jiln's eyes widened. "That's a Hunter-class warship?" Velrek stayed silent. He had read the old records. Long ago, during humanity's final war, a few ships were said to be piloted by one person, but carried the firepower of a fleet. Now he was looking at one. The ship moved fast. It didn't hesitate. It darted to the edge of Sector 12B, stopped, and sent a clear message in simple galactic standard, "Clear the border." 3 alien ships ignored the warning. One belonged to a proud Darlan commander who didn't believe the stories. He fired a scan beam. The human warship turned. One blink later, the Darlan ship was gone. No explosion, no light, just nothing. The other 2 ships ran. Velrek gripped the armrest of his chair. That wasn't a warning. That was a rule. And the rule was clear. This space belongs to Earth now. Suddenly, something new lit up on the human signal bands. It wasn't a message for aliens. It was a call, a broadcast across deep human code, not spoken, not written, but felt. It traveled far. On a hidden moon near the edge of the galaxy, an old Terran colony woke up, long forgotten, dusty, cold. Inside, sleeping machines blinked too. Life. A door opened. A figure stepped out wearing a dark suit with the Earth symbol on its chest. A voice echoed from deep within the colony. "The signal is real. Return to the stars." More colonies answered. In the silent dark, hidden human outposts began to shine. One by one. Dozens. Then hundreds. The exiles were returning. They had survived, grown, evolved. Velrek stared at his screen. "This wasn't a fleet," he said. "This was a signal fire." Jiln looked confused. "What do you mean?" He turned to her, voice low. "This first ship, it was never here to conquer. It came to call the others. Elsewhere in the galaxy, not everyone was quiet. The Gorth Alliance, a strong and stubborn race, decided to test Earth's limits. They gathered a force of 30 warships and headed toward Sector 12B. They didn't listen to warnings. They didn't care about history. They believed they were stronger. On the 9th day of the return, they crossed into the human zone. Velrek watched it happen from his ship. The Gorth ships flew in formation, loud, proud, and sure of their strength. The human fleet did not move. Instead, the Bastion station sent out a signal. A pulse. It hit the Gorth fleet like a wave. Their systems jammed, lights failed, pilots screamed. Then, silence. All 30 ships were frozen in space, not destroyed, not attacked, just paralyzed. A second signal came. The ships turned around by themselves and floated back out of the zone. As soon as they crossed the line, they powered up again. Message received. Humanity didn't need to fire. Their silence was stronger than war. Velrek whispered, "This is not revenge. This is warning." He looked once more at the human fleet, growing, glowing, preparing. "They're not here to destroy the galaxy," he said. "They're here to remind it." Thunder had returned, but the lightning still hadn't struck. The galaxy was changing. Everyone could feel it. The humans had returned, but they were not the same people who had been exiled centuries ago. They were quieter now, smarter, stronger, more dangerous, and they were planning something big. Bastion 1, the human station in Sector 12B, was growing. Massive structures were being added every day. New energy spikes showed strange readings. Unknown tech hummed softly in the vacuum. Even the best alien scientists couldn't understand what the humans were building. But Velrek had a guess. "They're not just building a base," he said quietly. "They're building a capital." Jiln frowned. "A capital? For what?" He looked out the window at the stars, then at the endless human ships forming tight formations in the darkness. "For an empire," he whispered. All around the sector, small alien ships watched from a distance. No one dared cross the invisible line that marked the new border. No one wanted to vanish like the Darlan commander had. The humans hadn't fired a single shot since then, but the galaxy had never been more afraid. On the 10th day of Earth's return, a new ship arrived. This one was different, small, black, no lights. It slipped through space like a shadow. It didn't come through a rip or a gate. It just appeared. Velrek felt a chill. "What is that?" Jiln asked. "I don't know," Velrek said, eyes locked on the screen. "But the humans are reacting." He was right. The human fleet, silent and still for days, suddenly moved. Slowly, like giants waking from sleep. They shifted formation, opening a path toward Bastion 1. The black ship drifted forward. Then the signal came. A single word, broadcast across every known frequency, in every known language. "Heirs." Jiln turned pale. "What does it mean?" Velrek stood up. "It means someone's come to claim something." From deep within Bastion 1, a beam of white light reached toward the black ship. Slowly, the small vessel floated into the heart of the human station. And then, nothing. No sound, no signal, no movement. For hours, the galaxy waited. Finally, another message came. Short, cold. "The founders have awakened. It spread like fire." Historians searched ancient human records. Old whispers told of people who escaped Earth during the exile. Scientists, engineers, visionaries. They vanished without a trace. Some thought they had died. Others believed they had gone into hiding. Now it seemed they had survived, and they had returned. Velrek's voice was quiet. "This isn't just Earth rising. This is something older, deeper." Jiln stared at the stars. "Then who really leads them now?" Back in Bastion 1, the lights changed. Blue turned to white. The structure shifted again. Taller now, almost like a tower reaching for the stars. And then came the message that shook every system. The age of silence is over. Earth is united. The Imperium rises. For the first time in centuries, humanity had declared itself an empire. On Zarn Prime, chaos erupted. Lord Erev stood before the council. "We must stop them now. If we wait, they will control the stars." But no one spoke. Not because they agreed, but because they knew they couldn't. Stop Earth now. Across the galaxy, strange things started happening. Ships near old Terran ruins found hidden beacons lighting up. Forgotten satellites activated. Old human tech, thought to be dead, came alive. And then came the most terrifying discovery. A probe from the Trask Empire scanned one of the ancient Earth beacons. Inside, it found something shocking. A memory core, not of battles, not of revenge, but of plans, blueprints, maps, systems, human systems, hundreds of them, hidden colonies, deep space factories, massive stargates in far corners of the void. Humanity hadn't been silent for 200 years. They had been preparing. Velrek watched the report from his ship, his hands shaking. "This was never a return," he said. "This was a countdown." Jiln looked at him. "Then what's next?" He turned toward the stars. "The next phase." And right then, on the edge of Sector 12B, a huge stargate began to open. Built by human machines, powered by unknown energy, the ring of steel and light spun faster and faster until a hole tore open in space. From within came more ships. Not just warships, city ships, colony transports, freighters, terraformers. Velrek's eyes widened. They're not just here to stay. They're here to expand. And still, no one could stop them. No weapons, no fleets, no alliance. Because Earth had returned not as one world, but as an unstoppable force. A storm hidden in silence. A thunderclap in the dark. And the real sound of war hadn't even begun. The Stargate kept spinning. More human ships poured out, each bigger, stranger, and more advanced than the last. There were vessels shaped like spears, rings and wings. Some shimmered, like liquid. Others were invisible until they moved. Alien watchers didn't know what to call them anymore. These weren't just ships. They were something beyond. Cities in space, machines with minds, worlds with engines. Velrek watched from his command ship, still on the edge of Sector 12B. His crew stayed quiet. Every beep and signal from the human fleet was recorded, but no one dared to speak. They were witnessing something historic. "Is that a Dyson frame?" Jill asked, pointing at the massive human construct unfolding near the local star. Velrek stared in shock. "They're building around the sun." It was true. Human machines had begun placing long metal arcs into position. Each piece caught light, storing energy. Not for one ship, not even for one planet, for an empire. Earth wasn't just expanding, it was preparing to power something much bigger. News of this reached every star nation. Panic spread. A dozen emergency councils met in secret. Some debated peace. Others demanded war, but none could act. Every probe, every spy ship, every attempt to enter the human-controlled zone ended the same way. Vanishing. Silence. No trace. Even the Gorth, famous for never backing down, refused to enter the zone again, after their fleet was returned frozen and humiliated. Now a new problem appeared. Refugees, thousands of humans from hidden colonies started arriving at neutral stations. They had lived in silence for generations, deep in the dark parts of the galaxy. Now that Earth had returned, they came back too, but they were different, smarter, fitter. Some had implants in their skin, others could control machines with thought. And they all shared one thing: loyalty to the Imperium. One refugee ship landed on Calros Station. The leader, a calm woman with silver eyes, said only one thing: "We are not lost. We are summoned." And then her people disappeared into the stars. Again. Back near Bastion 1, the black ship from before returned. This time, it didn't enter the station. It moved toward the edge of the human fleet. Then it sent out a wave. No words, just a pulse of information. Velrek's crew captured part of it. What they saw chilled them. Inside the pulse was a single image, a massive star map with dozens of marked points, each one labeled as activated. "These are weapons," Jill whispered. Velrek nodded. "Weapons hidden across the galaxy. Waiting." Another image followed. It showed a device, small, black, smooth, simple in shape. But beside it were notes in strange code, human symbols, but evolved, faster, smarter. This was not old Earth tech, it was post-exile tech, and it had one label: Protocol Stormbreaker. Velrek had no idea what it meant, but his instincts screamed. He turned to his crew. "We must leave, now." But it was too late. All across the human zone, energy levels spiked. Ships shifted into new formations. The Bastion Tower fired a beam into the sky, not at an enemy, but into open space, and from that, light, a ripple spread, like a wave across the stars. Not an attack, not a signal, a countdown. 10, 9, 8. Alien empires scrambled to respond. Fleets moved. Shields went up. Diplomats sent desperate messages, but the countdown didn't stop. 7, 6, 5. Jill whispered. "What are they doing?" Velrek stood frozen. "Declaring something." 3, 2, 1. Then, silence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, every major communication system in the galaxy blinked. Every screen. Every terminal. Every device. A message appeared in bold white letters on black. "We were exiled, forgotten. Watch the galaxy grow fat and blind. Now we return, not for revenge. We return to lead." The message faded. Then came the final line. The Imperium of Earth is here. And with that, the countdown ended, not in fire, but in control. Human systems quietly took over old Terran satellites. They activated long-dead networks. Space stations turned toward Earth's signal, like flowers toward the sun. And in that moment, the galaxy realized this was not the beginning of war. It was the beginning of rule. Velrek sank into his seat, breathing hard. They didn't come to fight us. Jill nodded, pale. They came to govern us. The storm hadn't hit yet, but the sky had already changed. The galaxy had changed overnight. Humanity had returned, but not as soldiers looking for a fight. They came as rulers, silent, powerful, and calm. The skies were full of their ships. Their machines shaped space itself, and their message was clear. We are not asking. Across star systems, alien leaders met in panic. Some wanted to resist, others wanted to surrender, but none could agree on what the humans truly wanted. Velrek, watching from his cruiser, wasn't sure either. They haven't fired a single weapon, Jill said, staring at the large screens showing human fleets. They just took control. Velrek nodded. That's how real empires work. He was right. All over the galaxy, human tech began fixing broken things. Abandoned stations came back to life. Old planets once thought dead started blooming with energy. Terraformers arrived. Medical ships, too. Even alien colonies, untouched for years, suddenly found human drones repairing water lines, clearing disease, and rebuilding homes. But nothing was free. The humans always left a small black box behind. A single device that spoke in every language. You are under protection of the Imperium. Obey local human law. Resist, and you will vanish. Some didn't believe the warning. On the edge of Sector 15, the Yargan clan destroyed one of the black boxes and captured a human diplomat. 3 hours later, the entire Yargan moon disappeared. No battle, no fire, just gone. When a probe flew over the moon's coordinates, it found smooth glass in space where rock once floated, and a single human message floating in orbit. We are merciful. Once. After that, no one resisted. The galaxy watched as Earth expanded, slowly but surely, planet by planet, system by system, not with guns, not with war, but with quiet control. Velrek sat in his ship's dark command center, replaying human transmissions. They planned this, he said. All of it. Jill looked at him. From the exile? Velrek nodded. They knew, even back then. They weren't broken. They were waiting. Across known space, ancient human colonies, lost to time, woke, up one by one. Some were inside asteroid belts. Others were buried under ice. One was found orbiting a black hole, each one lit up with the same symbol, Earth's crest. At the center of it all stood Bastion 1, no longer just a station. It had grown, expanded. Now a towering city in the stars, glowing with energy. Above it, the Stargate remained open, stable, and wide, and from that gate came the final ship. Larger than anything ever built, a moving continent of steel, fire, and light. Its name echoed across every frequency. Sol Throne. Velrek stood as the massive ship slowly came into view. That's no flagship, he whispered. That's a throne world. Inside the Sol Throne, a figure stepped forward. Finally, the leader of the Imperium. She wore a black and silver robe, her eyes glowing faint blue from implants. Her voice was calm, clear, and controlled. I am Imperator Lyra Solis, she said, daughter of Earth, speaker of the lost, heir to silence. Every screen lit up, every station listened. 200 years ago, we were cast out. The galaxy turned its back. That was your choice. She paused. Now, we return, not as broken children, but as keepers of order. Another pause. You will not stop us. You cannot stop us. But you may join us. She lifted one hand, and behind her, stars bent, planets aligned, and a new map appeared, lines drawn not with borders, but with human signal trails. The new order. Velrek's heart pounded. This is it, he said. This is the future. Jiln stared at the screen, voice small. So, what happens now? Velrek didn't answer right away. He watched the map, the fleets, the glowing cities. Then he spoke. Now we live in their world. And as if hearing him, Lyra Solis spoke her final words. We are not your past. We are your horizon. The Imperium does not conquer. It absorbs. Welcome to peace, or prepare for silence. With that, the message ended. And the stars were no longer free. They were part of something greater, something ancient, reborn. The thunderclap had come, and it had changed everything. Forever.